Hey there, it's Dr. Tom with EBM Fitness Solutions. I want to go over how to do a 2 up, 1 down bridge variation. So bridging is incredibly important. If you're not good at bridging, go back to the regular bridge and focus on getting good at that. It seems simple and almost something that people can overlook, but bridging is critical. Learning how to bridge properly will actually help you when it comes to your squats, your deadlifts, your lunges, step downs. Almost any other lower body exercise can be improved if we improve our bridge technique. Bridging of any kind, 2 feet, 1 leg, any kind of a weight across the hips, dumbbells or a barbell, any variation should be almost exclusively a glute exercise. Your glutes are your butt muscles. As you're bridging, you should feel the glutes working. You may feel a tiny bit in the hamstrings, but it's got to be at least 90-10. 90% glutes, 10% hamstrings. It's got to be, right? If you're doing this and you feel predominantly hamstrings, back down to an easier variation of the exercise. If you feel it outside of those 2 areas, if you feel it in your thighs, in your knees, in your back, or anything like that, that is absolutely incorrect. The wrong things are working. You got to come back to the very basics, small range of motion, get the glutes to do the work. Assuming you have pretty good understanding of how to bridge regularly, maybe it's getting a little bit easy, but maybe the single leg bridge is too difficult. This kind of lands you right in between here. So we're going to bridge up with 2, pick 1 foot up, and then we're going to come down. So what does that look like? What am I even talking about? So remember, with bridging, should be your core tight, heels into the floor. It's heels and hips. That's going to help to make sure that your glutes are working, not the thighs, minimal hamstrings. By bracing the core, it minimizes low back movement, so it keeps it out of your low back. So what do we do first? Squeeze the glutes, bridge up. At this point, I'm going to pick up 1 leg, and I'm going to lower back down on just the 1 leg. Bring my foot down, bridge up again. Now I'm going to switch. The key when you pick up your leg, when I do this, right, I can't drop back down as soon as my foot comes up. So when I go up here, if I'm going to keep my left hip, get my left leg down, I got to really brace it hard so when this one comes up, there's no change. And then I come back down. Bridge up, pick up the leg, hold the position, come back down. Now be mindful too that the glutes, they extend or straighten your hips, okay? When your hips are done extending, if you continue to move, your low back has to come into play. So focus on not lifting up as high as you can, but tighten up your butt, squeeze your butt. At a certain point, you can't go any higher unless you arch your back. At that point, that's the top of your bridge. That's where you hold. That's where you pick up the leg. That's where you come back down. So really work on those little pieces. If you're not familiar with bridging, go back to the basic bridge, work on your core stability, dig your heels in, make sure it's a glute-driven movement. Then you can progress to something like this, but as you do, don't lose sight of the fact that bridging of any kind, it doesn't matter what variation or progression you throw in there, it's a glute exercise. If you progress and you lose the glute focus, you gotta come back or you gotta revisit technique because bridging should always be about the glutes.